Are Paimon's eyes deceiving her? What's Skirk doing here in Nod-Crai? Exactly. And Dori's here too. We should go over and say hi.
Wow, my. Such an exquisite radiant exoskeleton. Come, let me take a closer look, so I can make sure to offer you a fair price. Please, take a seat and rest a while. If you have anything you'd like to eat or drink, I'd be more than happy to...
Let's not waste time. Just tell me how much you're offering.
Of course. Just a moment. Remarkable. Not so much as a scratch. Even the very best bounty hunters would struggle to retrieve a radiant exoskeleton of such quality.
Skirk! Dori! What are you two doing here?
I came to look around Nod-Crai, and thought I'd take the opportunity to make a little mora.
What's this? My most valued customer is already acquainted with my most valued customer?
Is Paimon hearing things? Or did you just say most valued customer twice?
Naturally, my most valued customers are equally valued, so you both receive my most effusive enthusiasm. Please, rest here a moment while I work the price out.
You've gotten stronger. It seems you haven't neglected your training since we last met. I see. Nod-Crai is home to many worthy opponents. Should you overcome this trial, your strength will increase further still.
So, how have you been, Skirk? When we last saw you, you said fate would decide how we'd meet again. Well, Paimon didn't think it would decide so quickly.
Was it quick? It's felt like a very long time to me. My life will experience little change until a true turning point arrives. But as for you, you are at a pivotal point in your journey. Have care. Victory and defeat are seldom long-lived.
Excuse me, dear customer. After careful consideration, I'm prepared to offer you 6 million mora for these radiant exoskeletons. I assure you that this is the fairest possible price. While you might be able to sell a single item for 700,000 or so, when it comes to buying in bulk...
I'll take half of that in cash. I won't be staying long, so there's no point carrying around more money than I need. As for the other half, give it to these two in the form of food or supplies. You should have plenty of both in your stores.
Of course. I can see my most valued customers enjoy a very close relationship. Here's your mora. Please, do stop by again.
I'll be going then. Until next time.
Huh? Won't you stay for a chat? Oh, she's gone again. That's Skirk.
That's just how she is, sweeping in and out like a sudden gust of wind. I'm used to it by now.
Hey, that reminds Paimon. You haven't forgotten her somehow? Even though you've done lots of business together before? What's the deal with that?
Huh? What do you mean? The all-knowing Lord Sangama Bay keeps every customer near and dear to her heart. Fine, if you must know, she's not really my customer, but rather a guest of Miss Alice, my supplier. Miss Alice introduced her to me, and now she drops by from time to time to do business. She's the perfect customer. She always brings quality goods and doesn't care too much about the price.
Whoa! That's one suspicious-looking grin. You're not ripping her off, are you?
Ridiculous! A strong, mysterious customer like that who brings me valuable items? I practically worship the ground she walks on. Dori's Divine Bazaar is a fair and reputable business. Now, I promised I'd supply you with food, so it's about time I start hunting for ingredients. 3 million mora. What can I find that's worth 3 million mora? It looks like I'm going to have to dig out something very special indeed.
Yes, just like that. This will be more than enough to assassinate Varka. I'm going to assassinate Varka. I need ideas for assassinating the Grand Master. I went over this with Alice a long while ago. She stands with me and has even offered several ideas on how I might take him out. Of all her suggestions, this one seemed the most promising. Bring a full cart of Mondstadt's newest dandelion wine all the way here, and then, before Varka's very eyes, tip the entire cart over the cliff. Perhaps the monumental, overwhelming grief will make him collapse, or go drown himself in whatever other wine he can find.
That doesn't sound like it'll work. Wait, no! Don't even think about doing something so horrible.
When writing a novel, the author, naturally, seeks to be as extravagant as possible, especially when writing detective novels. If the opening lacks a striking turn, how is the rest of the plot meant to unfold? Alas, this will be my final attempt at writing detective novels. Oh, I suppose they call them crime novels in Inazuma. In any case, they all tell of crime. There's hardly a meaningful distinction. I also discussed it with Barbie, but our novel writing sessions always evolve into crime planning sessions. Methods of crime and puzzles of deduction. We have explored plenty of those, yet the plot would not advance. The Angel Killer case. Try as they might, the culprit remained elusive. The desperate detective rushed into the crowd, then shouted the revered names of the 4 great rulers at the sky. Whoosh! Pitter-patter. Boom! Detective and murderer reduced to ash.
What kind of writing is that? Doesn't that leave no room for deduction at all?
Of course there is. It was only through painstaking deduction that the detective finally discovered the names of the 4 great rulers, learning also that shouting them at the sky would inevitably reduce one to ash. My point exactly. Simply deducing who the culprit is has become dreadfully unoriginal. The subject of one's deductions must be something more creative. I even thought of having a Seelie detective, an angel who, longing to become a detective, became a Seelie, and by some twist of fate, ended up as a detective's assistant. All Seelies love to guide people, so this one went about leading the detective from case to case. I found the idea rather interesting. Come to think of it, the Seelie detective and the Angel Killer case seem far more interesting than assassinating the Grand Master. Never mind, guess I'll move on to work on that idea then. It's precisely because I overthink every little detail that I've lost interest in continuing. Not to mention the mountain of words I'll have to write. The very thought of penning all those words. Oh, what a hassle. And I can't even get a ghostwriter for this one. I'll just work on the Angel Killer case instead. But how might the detective deduce the truth? Perhaps he could have a conveniently informative dream. Seelie detective. Hold on. Why not have the Seelie guide that detective to assassinate the Grand Master instead?